Resuming. Nerd. World. Order. Broadcast. Dynaphones connected. Initiating broadcast signal in
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, this is the Nerd World Order broadcast. I am the man that you call Dukes, and to my right, it's all about the...
Booyah, what's up? It's your boy Joe, baby.
And to my other right, weighing in at 178 adamantium-filled pounds, coming straight out of Krakoa, Alfonso X-Man Flores.
Oh, come on. You know that was just cousin stuff.
Well, ladies, gentlemen, and knights, there will be no cousin stuff in this episode of the Nerd World Order broadcast, but we will be experiencing the fallout. Amazon's fallout. Wow, I almost said Anaheim. Guess where I spend most of my time now? Amazon's fallout. It's an awesome TV show. Alfonso said, hey guys, let's talk about if you're having fun, if you enjoy the content, and you know, all the episodes, like who comes up with these ideas, it's Alfonso. Alfonso keeps us in line now. The fun guy actually keeps us in line. Yeah. I'll give you my initial thoughts, like before I watch the show. So I'm sitting at work, right? For some reason, everyone at work is a gamer. So they're like, hey, you guys seen the Fallout TV show? And I was like, I ain't watching no Fallout, you big nerds. And they were like, oh, that's really good, man. You should watch it. So I went home and I watched it, and I was like, man, this is really good. And every episode I was like, man, this is really good. So that's the podcast today. It's really good. But no, that my first thought was, you know, I never played Fallout. Video game, TV shows, and movies suck. This is going to suck too. And boy, was I wrong. Mr. Positivity himself, our personal ray of sunshine, Alfonso X-Man Flores. What did you think prior to watching the show?
Well, I didn't have a lot of information about Fallout because a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I made a choice. I chose Borderlands over Fallout. And they're just the games are so close. They're all about vaults and vault hunting. Well, Borderlands, you're vault hunting, and Fallout, you're living in vaults coming out. So, you know, to me, they just seem so similar, and Borderlands just had so many innuendos that I loved it right off the bat. So I chose Borderlands, and I never really picked up Fallout. Although I always wanted to. I always kept my eye on it. It seemed very interesting. You know, I love looking around for loot, and I love post-apocalyptic stuff. So when I heard there was going to be a TV show, I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. I'm going to watch this. I'm definitely going to watch this because I'm going to learn more about Fallout. And I was quite pleased with it. You know, it's, you know, it's got some corny little things like, you know, the thumbs up guy, you know, the little bobblehead. And there's like so much lore to it. So like the more you watch it, the more you find out. You start watching TikToks or seeing posts and like see how deep they really delved. And I love the fact that they stayed so true to the source material.
Joe, what'd you think before you watched it?
I just watch it because I ain't got nothing else to watch. You know what I mean? When you watch stuff, so it was brand new. I watched it, you know, and to Alf's point, it's very close to the source material of the game, and Marvel needs to understand that. Somehow we always go back to Marvel, dude. See, if Marvel just stuck to the source material, they would make some good content, because the pattern is the One Piece is the best anime adaptation live because it respected the source material. Fallout, the same thing, respected the source material, and it's one of the best live video game adaptations to come out that we've seen thus far.
So as I always like to point out when Joe hypes up One Piece, Joe has actually never seen Dragon Ball Evolution, so he doesn't know how high the bar can go on good live action adaptation.
Dude, as bad as what was it? as bad as Cowboy Bebop was, it was still better than Dragon Ball Evolution. Dude, it was so bad. Didn't you say the dude had to apologize to the creator? I'm so sorry for making this crappy ass movie.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I just like to throw that out there. Well, I am going to be the person whose perspective is that of the non-video game player. I don't know anything about Borderlands. I don't know anything about Fallout, but I do have to say this ain't a dream. It's a goddamn arms race because that's going to be stuck in my head this entire episode. So, yeah. Uh, really cool. The show's really cool. So let's just dive into it. Alfonso, what'd you like about it?
Well, it was really cool. The music was a lot of it was just like a lot of old, like, I don't know, was it not even 50s, 20s, 40s? I don't know. But it kind of seemed like it took place in the 50s, where everything you're worried about the commies, them commies coming over and bombing the place. And you gotta buy your fallout shelters, and the government had this idea, like, let's get this place to finance all these different vaults. And what there'll be huge fallout shelters where people can live in communities until it's safe to come up, because in their opinion, dropping the bombs was going to become inevitable. It was going to happen no matter what. And what happened was, the people, and it's almost like big pharma. They're the ones in charge of all the money. So it's like, yeah, we don't want to cure diseases because then we're going to be out of business. We fight we fight all the symptoms. So what they're thinking is like, well, we put all this money in the vaults. It's like we can't not have a nuclear fallout. So you come to find out that we dropped the bombs on ourselves. You know what I mean? And we got the ball rolling for all this fallout. So everybody jumped in the vaults, and everybody, and there was so many different vaults out there. And we're dealing mainly with 31, 32, and 33. 33 is the vault that we're dealing with. And there's 32 and 31. You find out more and more about it later, but like different vaults, all the different vaults were kind of controlled by different companies. And these companies had, or even scientists, they had their freedoms to conduct whatever experiments they wanted, and basically to see who comes out on top at the end and basically rule the world, right? And some of the experiments, like, I didn't know anything about this till I saw the final episode and I started doing some research. I mean, in the different games, you're dealing with different vaults, and in all these vaults, different things are going on. I mean, there was one vault that had 10 men. What was it? No, it was like 10 men, 100 women, and a panther, just to see what happened. You know what I mean? So, um, it's been very interesting. I like the experiment that they're doing. Basically, where 33 and 32, they're functioning like societies. And the thing is, 31 is really controlling everything. But what 31 is, and here's a huge spoiler, is basically everybody who was in charge of setting up the vaults, like the management, and they're basically going to cryo freeze. Once in a while, they pop one out, and they get to rule the vault and become, like what their president or whatever they call them, and kind of run the show, right? So it's really interesting to see somebody after 215 years running the place, right? And then you've got other people like on the surface, like the ghouls and the raiders, and um, there's a lot to get into. I don't want to go too far with it, but I mean, what are your guys' thoughts of the way the Vault Society is working? How do you liking that?
No, I thought it was really fascinating. There was so much mystery around Vault 31. I was a little bit, I'll just say, disappointed by it. Vault 4 was just awesome. I everything about Vault 4, I was like, whoa, this is creepy, but I want to see more Vault 4. Like, there was a creature in the lake,
Right.
and was that what the lady was giving birth to?
Yeah.
And okay, I thought so, but I wasn't sure. And then when whatever the main character's name is, she was
Lucy.
walking. Lucy, thank you.
Or as Vault 4 calls her, Goosey.
Lucy Goosey. As Lucy was walking into Vault 4, there's like a big there one of those creatures are in like formaldehyde right inside the vault, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. The vault system, it was just such a great idea. And like for me, it's really cool because I'm looking at it like, wow, this is awesome and original. And Alfonso's like, know your roots, son. This is actually from the video game. And I'm like, cool. But for a first time experiencer of this universe, it's just awesome. The knights are awesome. The vaults,
Mhm.
like all the different vaults, there's supposed to be over 100 vaults.
Right.
I'm like, wow, this could go on forever. There's so much. It's like they already have to have spin-offs to look at all the other vaults. They could do a whole nother show just based on what happens in other vaults and stuff.
Yep.
Love the concept. Love the concept. So good. And I know Joe probably thought exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I thought capitalism at its finest, because that's what it is. Like them control over everything. It's kind of weird because it's like at that point when you nuke everything, it's not even about money anymore. It's about control and manipulating people, because I want to say it's like 150 volts. I think it was, or something like that. I could be wrong.
Mhm.
I thought it was maybe 150, but it's spread up into like, what was it, like 6 or 7 different people, like for their business and stuff. And so to your point, Alan, like it's each one is, I think, from what I remember, each one has contributed into the freezing, the Crino, the little robot brain in it. Like each one has their own dab of creation. When they have, remember when they had the episode where they had, let's come up with some ideas. So they
Mhm.
each have used each other's technologies, as you could tell. It's very
Mhm.
interesting, to who's the dude that's really controlling all of them, like the shadowy person that was up top just watching everything. But it's kind of interesting to see, like, you know, how many more clones, like, 'cause it's, what was it, Vecna? And I'm thinking Stranger Things. It was all V something, wasn't it? What's the name of the I can't
Vault-Tec.
remember the name of
Vault-Tec,
the
yeah.
yeah, Vault-Tec, there we go. Uh, that was just they have a little hibernation tank for theirs, so you can only imagine the other companies have their own version. And
Yeah.
so, to your point, you could do break off of a bunch of different, but I think that would be too much. I think that's going the Marvel angle. I think it'd be too much. I think they should just fixate it, because they can break every season. Like next season, they can, the guy that they're going to go like New Vegas, that's one of the guys that was in that room. So he's going to that guy. So now the next season could be that guy. And then you can, if there's, say you can go up to 7th season, each one had individual stories and breakdown of, what they did on their votes.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I just the vault concept just really got me excited. The Vault 4, man. Vault 4. I want a show about Vault 4. I know Joe said no spinoffs, but I just want Vault 4. I just thought it was so cool.
And then you got don't forget about Cooper Howard. You got Cooper Howard. He was the he was a Marine who got to wear one of the those armors, the lower version of those armors. Later on, he became a movie star. And then he was like this cowboy action star, and he started doing birthday parties and whatnot. And again, 215 years later, he's still alive because he's a ghoul. So now we got to find out everything we can about ghouls. But clearly, he's got to take some kind of drugs in order for him to maintain his intelligence and wherewithal. Otherwise he just becomes like a savage. And some of these ghouls, when they stop taking their drugs that they need, then they just become basically like zombies. um, that intrigues me so much because he had the wife who worked for Vault-Tec. He had the daughter. You saw when the bombs dropped, which we find out later aren't even the main bombs. Those were just because according to Maximus, the bombs were dropped when he was a little kid. So like there were bombs, and then there were more bombs, and there were more bombs. It's so interesting because they all have their little version of history and what's gone on and when it's gone on. So uh, there's so many endless possibilities with this. You could do this like an anthology series where you basically have a different story and a different setting every week. There's so much they can do with this. And then we didn't even talk about Maximus too much. Maximus, he's one of he became a squire, right? For a night.
Can we stay on the ghoul?
Yes,
And
let's
then
stay on the
get to
goal.
Maximus.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I can tell you're excited. I saw Walter Goggins and I was like, "Dude, I'm done. I'm done." As soon as I see Walter Goggins in anything, I remember I saw him for the first time as the quasi villain in The Shield. So we're
Yeah.
talking probably 20 years ago. I hated that dude. And it took me years to not hate Walter Goggins because he did such a great job as the backstabbing guy. in the Shield. When I saw him, I'm like, dude, this he's gonna kill it. The Ghoul, man, the Ghoul is just one of my favorite characters from any TV show of all time. And I think we use Marvel as the litmus test or sort of the indicator to say whether something is good or not.
Mhm.
And the Ghoul was just written so well, acted so well. His story, how we use his story to explain things that happened in all the vaults, and we use the story to figure out like, well, what really happened, because at the start you think like, oh well, clearly mutually assured destruction, the Russians set off these bombs. Later on it's like things start to get clearer, the smoke starts to clear, and it's like, boom, this is what really happened. Everything about the Ghoul, the final episode where he was explaining like, oh, there's a there's an error in this armor, and I wonder if it's still there. Boom. Oh my gosh, dude, that the Ghoul, bro. Like, I know there's other ghouls, but then there's the Ghoul, right? And I don't know what other like artists or characters there are, but there is many ghouls, but there is only the Ghoul, and I'm loving that dude.
Yeah, he's so suave, and he's got like, how did the kids say it, Joe? They got Riz. Yeah, short for charisma. Let me translate for us older people. But man, I always get him confused with the same guy who was in what was that? Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett, the one who written. No, he's a
Yeah, I know who
Mandalorian.
you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
the one who
Timothy
was that
Oliphant.
sheriff.
Timothy
Yeah.
Elephant. Yeah,
Yeah,
those
he's
two
a-
guys. I mean, they got to do a movie where actually weren't they in Justified together or something? I don't know.
I
The
think
show
you're
that I
right.
never watched. Devlin
Yeah,
always
me
told me
either.
about it.
I think you're right.
Yeah. But those two guys, they're so like they just can take each other's place so well because they do it so well, especially with like a cowboy type person, And I guess look, from Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, you're finding out how much we actually like cowboys. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You want the gunslinger, you want the cool hand, Yeah, that was so great the way he was explaining about how, like you were saying, how he was explaining with the problem in the armor. And that wasn't the first time he said it, because earlier in one of the other episodes he was talking about it. He goes, yeah, I used to have me one of them armors. And he goes, I lost a lot of good friends to that. Oh, that was actually in one of the flashbacks way back when, right?
Yeah.
So they had those armors way back then too, man. It's such a deep rooted story. I've loaded up Steam on my laptop so I can have my daughter start downloading Fallout New Vegas for me, because I'm going to try it out, because I just want to know more about this world,
Right.
and I probably won't stop there once I'm done with that game. I don't want to start at 1 because the graphics look so cheeseball, but we'll see. We'll see where I go.
So, Alfonso, you wanted to talk about Aaron Clifton Moten,
Yeah.
also known as Maximus. I'm about to get on my soapbox, but I will get on my soapbox after you hype this character up.
Maximus, he's just like one of those doe-eyed, happy-go-lucky kind of guys. He seems like really nerdy, and sometimes he can seem super strong, but there's something about him. He's like that lovable loser. You know what I mean? Like think Anthony Michael Hall and just about everything he did, right? So he starts off in this camp where he's basically a grunt, and all the people that have been there longer always pick on him, mess with him, beat him up. They jump him, and he's always got latrine duty. Cleaning that. He's got a stack of tires. He's digging holes so that people can take a dump in it. That was a pretty nice touch. It's like that's a nice little throne there. I could see myself, doing some work there. You know what I mean? A stack of tires. But something happens to the person there's a person who's being called to become a squire. It's a friend of his, and that friend of his, gets injured because there's some razor in their boot, and he's like, well, he's the next one to be called up. So he gets to take that person's place, and he becomes a squire for a knight. And the knight was so classic, dude, played by Michael Rappaport. And he was always just clowning on him. Like, he just messing with him. He's like, here, clean my jock. And he takes his cod piece off and throws it up, makes him clean it, polish it. And, the guy was just so raw. And that poor guy was just so, his brow beaten. He was beaten. He was just, you could tell, man, he had his uppings need to come, right? When he was a little boy, he was found in a refrigerator after a blast, kind of like Indiana Jones in that one movie where he survived the nuclear blast because of a refrigerator, which is
Right.
funny because in the game, in one of the Fallout games, you actually find somebody in the refrigerator, and he said he'd been there since the bombs, and it was like 200 years, and it turned out it was a little gold kid. So they kept a little bit of that story there, but
Wow, that's pretty cool. So let me set up my soapbox for a minute. Step on it. Here we go. So much like in most Hollywood shows, most TV shows, you've got this black guy. And this black guy is always cowardly, uh, a buffoon, comedic relief to an extent. And hey, Amazon falls right in line because this character is just, even when he is progressing, he progresses it by stealing someone else's clothes and pretending to be someone else. I just can't get behind that. I was like, yo, Maximus, let's rewrite your story. I couldn't get behind that. Did I think the character had potential? Yeah. I know, I don't know. At the end of the show, it was like, yay, Maximus. Even though his ascension to power comes through what? Another lie. So Maximus continues to be a fraud, which, hey, for some reason, that's how they always put black guys in movies and TV shows: cowardly, buffoony fraud. But hey, that is my soapbox. That being said, at the end of the show, he served to be a what's the word I'm looking for? A romantic interest, a liability for the Lucy character. Yes, that's him. So Maximus, good actor, playing a bad role that Hollywood does to the brothers. That's how I feel about it. Joe, would you like to prove me why this is wrong?
Well, I kind of think he's like the Finn character, right? Isn't he the exact the same thing? Helpless, chases the girl, gets knocked out, the girl leaves. He's basically
Yeah.
Finn from Star Wars.
Wow, it's almost like Hollywood just has this thing where if they cast a black guy
Yeah.
with a Caucasian interest, he has to be the Finn character. Joe, damn, Joe's on fire tonight, bro.
bullseye.
Yeah, you better get the fire extinguisher.
I was, bro, it's the same thing, bro. It's the same type of concept, dude. So like I mean, I see where you're coming from with it. I mean, I don't disagree with it. I mean, it's the same thing as Finn.
Wow. Somebody call 911. Joe's about to spontaneously combust.
He's going saying,
So Alfonso, what other characters did just really impress you?
let's see. You had the younger brother. What was his name? Norm.
Yeah.
And it's funny. Norm's played by, I don't know if you guys ever watched Hannah Montana, but I had children around that time that watched Hannah Montana. He was the younger creepy brother on that. Or I don't know if he's a brother. I forget. He was in it. If you guys ever watched, what was that? Oh my gosh, I love that movie so much, and I can't think of it right now. Oh, and he was like, oh my god, never mind. I'm gonna have to scratch that because I can't even talk about it. It's
Wow.
not Jupiter's Legacy. I don't know where that came from. It's Ender's Game. Ender's Game. If you guys haven't seen Ender's Game, definitely watch Ender's Game. So amazing. But he was kind of the top notch kid in that game for a little bit till the new kid came in, the star of the show, and he basically took that spot from him like right quick. His name was like Bonzo in that, which is so weird. But he was. It was funny because he even like admitted he was playing a coward, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna go." She goes, "Why not?" Because I'm a coward. and that's the thing about most of the people in the vaults. They're all a little cowards. They're all sitting there hiding in their hidey hole. They have training, they have education, they have this, they have that. They learn how to use guns, they learn how to fight. But when it comes down to it, they're cowards. Like, in the beginning, you had Vault 31 that was, Vault 32 that was taken by raiders, and they didn't know, but it was time for Lucy to get married and procreate because you got to procreate so that you could have more people in the vaults. And so they brokered a deal with Vault 32 to bring somebody over, and they got together. They did their business. The guy wiped himself on the curtains. That was a smooth move. But it turned out they were Raiders, and they fought him off. And Lucy was she was one of the better fighters there. She didn't take crap from anybody, you know. Bonzo hid, or not Bonzo, whatever his name is, Norm hid. You know, the cousin that loves her so much, Professor Love. He's like, you can't marry him. I love you. That's just cousin stuff. You can't love me. We can't have kids together. Oh, and the one, I can't remember the pregnant chick's name, but she was super tough, man. She got stabbed in the eye with a fork. Next thing you know, she's got a machine gun. She's tearing it up. She was fun, dude.
Yeah, you know, I thought the Norm character wasn't what I expected, because I really felt like he, you know, I expected him to be cowardly based on his physical appearance. You know, he's got this really thin frame. At first, he's like kind of subdued and withdrawn, but it seemed like he was the person who, number one, was most angry, but number two, was really focused on figuring out what is the society really about. Now, to me, one of the things that you brought up that just, and Joe brought it up too, but it comes from such different sides of the spectrum, if you will. Um, Everyone in the vault, in Vault 33, became docile. They were only really focused on, hey, we're safe inside the vault. We have all this stuff inside the vault. We're safe, etc., etc. So they became very docile. And so it brings up the question, like, it is safety, and if there's no challenges in life, if it's just safety, do people lose their will and their motivation? So you know, that's definitely one social construct that was covered. But another thing that Joe talked about, and this is what I really like about the show, and I feel like you can just spend hours breaking down all the various social constructs in this show, but the idea that corporations will almost sacrifice people to a degree in order to make profit is what it really comes down to. So when Joe described it as like corporate greed, yeah, it is. And I feel like it's more believable now than ever. You know, I'm gonna, oh, there's my soapbox. Okay. So I feel like right now when people say inflation is increasing, yes, it is. However, people also say, and it's empirically proven, that corporations are also experience the biggest profits in their history. Therefore, we see it happening now. But since we see it in this cartoony, video gamey science fiction thing, it's palpable, but it really says a lot about capitalism. So this show does so much to cover so many issues.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the way they're going about it's kind of cool because, you know, for people who don't often think about things like that, it puts it in their head, you know.
Mhm.
So hopefully, you know, things like this will get society thinking properly, you know. Things have
Yep.
got to change, you know.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, getting back to the docile perspective is,
Mhm,
you know, as long as people feel like they have their basic needs, basic
mhm.
sustenance met, they're going to stay docile. It's only when like the people on the surface where their needs aren't being met, like they don't have electricity, they don't
Right.
have basic needs, they don't have sustenance. That's when they start to rebel against all these corporations and the governments that subsidize them, if not support them.
Yeah. And then who's to say too, like with the way 31, you know, they're the original managers, you know, being in charge of everything, they could be putting something in the food, you know, to
Mhm.
keep them more docile, you know, to keep them from wanting to go out, you know. Of course, they're spreading all the information that like, oh yeah, we can't go up there, it's not safe, you know. And Lucy's love for her father, which was when you find out later that he's just not the person she thought he was, you know,
Mhm.
drove her to go up there and to go find him and go save him. She went up alone, man. That she was tough. She was tough, and she was. You ever watch the movie Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser?
No.
And I think it was Renee Zellweger or something like that. Yeah,
No, isn't that Encino Man where he wakes up and he's a caveman, but he's
very,
like,
very
No,
similar, very similar. He
okay,
same
was
actor
he was
though. Same
yeah,
actor.
somebody who
Brandon
was
Fraser.
put in it was him and his dad, Christopher Walken, and his mom. They were in a bomb shelter because they mistakenly thought that I think it was like a radio program or something. They thought that the bombs were dropped, so they went to their fallout shelter. Later on, in the early '90s, Brendan Fraser decided to come up and check things out, and he had old school ethics, so he came out, and it was basically like the same story, it's just without the post-apocalyptic future. So it was just the '90s.
Okay, Alfonso, do you have a Christopher Walken impression for us since you said his name?
No, I don't have a Walken impression.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's the best I've ever done. I've tried it often, and it's like I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna fail. Well, that was
dang. Yeah, you heard it here first, people. Alfonso just nailed that one.
You know what I thought was weird too is like how Hank didn't know that was Lee before they all got jacked.
Moldaver, right?
Yeah, in the first episode, like how you not look and say, "Oh," you know what I'm saying?
I think he did, but I think he was trying to play it off like he didn't. Well, no, because they invited him over, huh? They broke bread with him. Man, that's because he knew her from the past, from the 50s.
Yeah, well, they both know each other.
Yeah. Oh, and she's the one that kidnapped the wife because they had a little something going on.
Well, she didn't kidnap the wife. The wife, when she found out like he was up to, the wife took the kids and left. But it was implied that they were probably lovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Lovers.
Well, yeah, like how do you not recognize them? You know what I mean? Like you should recognize her. Like once that thing opened up, you should say, "Whoa."
Well, she didn't have her hair up. She had it down. So
you never forget her face, bro. And especially if like if you come and get your kids back and you blow up the thing, like you're not gonna forget who that girl was.
Right.
But when did they see each other?
Remember when he went, because she is part of the ones from before the bomb went out. She worked for the company.
Did she work for the company, or did she work for a different company that did cryogenics?
It could have been from a different company, maybe.
Yeah.
But
it was a company that was bought up by Vault-Tec.
But
you're right. Yeah, that's right.
But when he went to go try to get his wife back, obviously she's there. You know what I mean? Because she knows the story.
Yeah. I guess that's one of those things where I just kind of wrote it off as like, hey, you know what? If I went to like, let's say Rancho Cucamonga to get a loaf of bread, I just not necessarily going to come in contact with like, someone in Rancho Cucamonga. So maybe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we say stop the cap in 2024.
It's like you go to any city, you're gonna it looks just like me, but it's not.
Yeah, that wasn't any city, bro. Like he knew who she was, bro. Stop the cap in 2024. And it's okay, dude. I mean, everything has their little flaws. I mean, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
No. It's fine. My bread is actually it's made from it's made from plant. It's plant bread, so it's like it's bread, but it's still no bread. So I feel good about myself. Yeah.
Have you tried cloud bread yet?
I have not tried cloud bread.
Look up the recipe. It's made basically like with egg whites, and it's interesting. It was very interesting.
Dude, jump on that plant-based bread. It's made from like, basically plants, but it's good. It's really
Yeah, right now my wife and I were all about the nuts and grain bread.
Sure,
that's pretty good too, with like the 28 grains or whatever.
Yeah,
that's good stuff. Yeah, 28 grains.
They don't have that. They don't have that in the vault.
Yeah, but if I went to Rancho Cucamonga to get some 28 grain bread, there's probably a lot of people I wouldn't see. So it could be like that.
But they look familiar.
They look familiar. Yeah, but they have their hair up. So I was like, that's not her.
It's a Superman thing.
Yeah,
Superman. I'm Clark Kent. I'm Superman.
Bro, she wasn't wearing glasses.
Yeah, that's what it was. But, whoa, did she have glasses on though? I mean, remember? No.
In the 50s, she did.
Cap is alive. Yeah, in the 50s. Oh, Alfonso remembers. Ooh, resurrection of the Cap in 2024, fam.
Stop the bro.
You can't.
If your wife took off and went with some other girl, you're gonna remember what that girl looks like, bro.
Because
that's the one she'd be scissoring with when she's not with you.
You blew her up.
If if hypothetically
You gotta remember. Sorry,
someone
you remember, bro.
someone
It's okay,
was
bro.
like
Like
scissoring, I would be
Marvel
with
is
you
not
on
the
there.
only one.
I'd be focusing
Marvel
on
is
the
not the only one
scissors.
that has that lazy writing, bro.
You know what? I'm focused on the scissors, bro. I'm like,
Yeah,
hey,
lazy writing,
I didn't even know she had a head. I was focusing on the
bro.
scissors.
When Homeboy took the kids and bombed to kill that wife, bro, you don't think that was some aggression against Lee? Oh, you can have her.
Might have been. But then he probably thought she was dead, you know? So it's probably like, oh, she looks familiar. I can't remember though, because she's not wearing
Oh,
glasses.
he did say that. He did say that after. It's
Yeah.
like, come on, dude. You know, but the first episode, like when they were just killing people, dude, that is kind of dope. You know, because it started off like, oh man, it's like that, huh? And it's just weird to see like people that don't know how to react to violence.
Mhm.
They're just sitting there froze, like they don't know what to do. And some people just started fighting, and other people were just like, "What do I do?" You know, it's
You're
just,
like-
it's weird.
20 people got to die before you realize it's really real.
Yeah,
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 Yeah.
exactly. Which, if you think about it, is just another example of like current American society. So
Mhm.
because like
Yeah.
whenever there's like a mass shooting or something, and people are interviewed, there's always like, I thought it was fireworks. Which I mean, that's why I don't go to fireworks anymore for 4th of July, because that's what people always say. I thought it was fireworks, but then people started dropping, so I dropped to the ground too, and I ran right. So people don't know how to
You know what's
react.
crazy? Where
What?
we grew up, we heard gunshots a lot.
Oh
So it's
yeah,
like I hear gunshots sometime, and I don't even run. I just look and see where it's coming from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're like,
Yeah.
what are you
Like,
gonna- what are you
close
gonna do?
to me, you know, like
Well, it's
yeah,
like
I
us.
don't sit there and
It's like us in California having earthquakes all the time. It's like no big deal. We just ride it out.
Yeah.
You get in New York
Yeah,
with an
bro.
earthquake, and they're like, ah!
I'd be sleeping through that crap.
Right.
And then you wake up and everyone's on social media. Did you feel it? It was a 4.6. It was a 9.6. And I'm like,
Saturday
bro.
Rancho Cucamonga.
I barely woke up to my alarm clock.
yeah. Another good point though, bro. It's like people get so I'll say socialized to certain things that when there's danger
Mhm.
around them, they don't even
Mhm.
notice, and they become, cannon fodder.
Yep.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool because it's like not everyone's gonna be like, oh, let me just start fighting. You know, so it's kind of cool how they had some that could fight, some like that one chubby dude like myself. I think he was wearing glasses too and a beard. He didn't know what he was doing. He was just sitting there going, what do I do? What do I do? You know what I mean? Do I lock myself in that?
Oh, yeah, that was
what do I
Woody.
do?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
Woody.
was
What
Woody.
do I do?
Yeah.
He's the same guy that says, "Hey, Spider-Man, do a flip."
Yeah, well, that Woody was kind of the soft Woody because he wasn't hard on the boulevard.
When in doubt, vote 31.
Yeah, I thought there were some pretty cool, I don't want to say cameos, but I was kind of bummed that when we went to WonderCon, we didn't get a picture with Eric Estrada since he was on the show.
Oh man,
Yeah.
same thing. I saw him like,
Yeah.
Well, here's the news flash. He's always at those shows, so you'll have no problem.
yeah.
Just like
What?
the dude from he's always there, bro. I always see him. Just like the
Boomer.
dude from Battlestar Galactica, Boomer.
Yeah,
Boomer's always
Boomer.
there, bro.
Boomer's all
Yeah, they're always there.
Virgil used to always be there, but not anymore. Rest in
See.
peace, Virgil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Virgil got no
Virgil.
respect. Yeah.
And then you had the two Saturday Night Live alums. You had Chris Parnell and Fred Armisen. They were both there. Chris
Don't
Parnell
know
was
who
the
that is.
Cyclops. He was the one. He actually does the voice on Rick and Morty of the dad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't watch the show, but I do know the Cyclops.
And then Fred Armisen. He was the DJ guy, where he's like, people don't really like my music, but I like to let it play.
Yeah, I didn't know who that was either. I would say most people don't watch Saturday Night Live anymore unless Dave Chappelle's on there. Then we'll watch it. Otherwise, we don't watch Saturday Night Live. We might watch the TikToks, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my gratuitous Lost shout out. There was Michael Emerson, Ben from Lost. Remember the
I
the guy who got his head cut off?
dude. I saw him. I was like, dude, I love this guy. But then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to take off my head. Dude, when they put that, he got his leg like destroyed, and then they just come over and they put that like salt boot thing on him, and they just
Yeah.
and he's like walking with it, like, oh, I'm okay. Oh,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
that looks
It just that really like that first episode just showed so much about like how there was such a difference between the people living in the wasteland and the
Yep.
people living in the vaults. You know, it's just so cool. I'm going to point out also. You sure that was Michael Rappaport? Because I thought it was too.
Nope, it
But-
is.
It's Michael Rappaport.
Yeah,
Oh,
I thought it
you
was, and
could
then
tell,
I
you could
confirmed just
tell.
a minute ago.
Yeah, you could tell, dude. Like when I saw him, I was like, "Oh, dude, he's perfect in that role, bro." So like, I was like, "Oh, that's
Right.
pretty good." You recognize his voice because he rants it, and when he rants, his voice sounds like a certain, you know, it's
Yeah.
him.
Even before he took off the mask, I was like, "That's Michael Rappaport," and then he took off. I'm like, "It is. It's him."
Wow. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. I didn't realize it was him until he took off the mask, and then I was looking at it and I'm like, it looks like Michael Rappaport, but I think it's not. But yeah, now I know it is.
Hmm.
Also, Leslie Uggams. I spent the entire episode Deadpool. His
Oh
women.
yeah. Blind Alfred. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I was like, what do I know her from? What do I know her from? And then I was like, oh, Deadpool trailer. Yeah. Let's find out.
The cure for blindness is under that panel with 100 kilos of cocaine.
Yeah, just so many good cameos in there. And it's weird because like if you talk Michael Emerson had a major role, but it was like a 5 maybe 10-minute cameo.
Right.
So I mean it was pretty cool, you know, how they brought people in. Do you remember the guys who were in the hospital, the ones who were harvesting organs?
Right.
The two. Remember Matt, the guy Huey, the two that were sitting there, Huey?
Yeah.
He's in like, is it Stranger Things?
I know he was in Reservation Dogs.
Okay.
He was
Never saw
in. He's got that dopey look to him, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He always plays like a meth head or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, he's
exactly.
Yeah, remember we used to see him at Nerdbot. Shout out to Alvin. Evans. But he would always be at Nerdbot. We always would walk by him going, and he wouldn't have
that many people. Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember we see him like there, and
yeah,
seems like a nice dude. But I remember we.
Oh yeah, it seems really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know how the nerds are, unless you've been in like 100 shows and or you're rather attractive woman,
Yes.
or perhaps
Mhm.
man, or
No, it's
non-binary, we could say that as long as you're attractive. Kind of like Dane, yeah, the Maximus's friend.
Yep.
They were
They.
non-binary, so that was cool. But yeah, you know how nerds are.
The
They
guy's
don't-
name is Matty Cardropol. He was also in
Yeah.
Free Guy. He was the guy in Free Guy that was on the other end. Mom,
Never seen that one.
dude, Free Guy is so good.
It's a good movie,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, I got to get around to it. You know, just
It's free.
yeah. Really,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely watch that before we watch The Witcher.
The Witcher. Okay, I'll do that.
Well, they just canceled The Witcher, I think.
Oh, really? They're not going
Oh.
to have the season with the other Thor guy,
I don't think
Thor's
so.
brother.
Hey, know what? Nobody's gonna watch it. You know.
You know what they need to do is bring my boy Bo. He wrote on that show.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything right now. Bring him
Yeah.
back.
His dance card is free.
I think
Yeah.
even if he did it, it's not animation. It's more actor, and
Yeah.
people like Henry Cavill. So even
No,
if Bo
he-
wrote it, no one's gonna watch it.
No, Bo
knows?
wrote a few episodes
No, I get that,
of The Witcher.
but
Oh,
Henry
okay.
Cavill is why people watch it. And if he's not in it, it doesn't matter if Bo comes back and writes it.
Hey. If Bo comes back, I'll watch anything, even The Witcher.
Okay, then go watch The Witcher. He already did a couple episodes. I find that
Yeah.
episode
If he
wrong
comes
to watch it.
back. Say if he comes back.
I guess Bo don't know.
The cap is formulated in 2024.
Mhm.
I told
Yeah.
that lie, giving myself an out. I said if he
Mhm.
comes back, no one he won't come back.
Well,
Thanks for bringing up X-Men, man. It's tomorrow. I can't wait.
Dude, I
Next-
fell asleep. I
What?
fell asleep watching
and
the
the last
episode.
one wasn't that good, man.
Dude.
Like I think after episode 5, I didn't care too much for Storm and Forge and the Professor X. I was like, come on, bro.
Oh man, what about Deathbird calling the Milky Way ghetto? We live in the Milky Way ghetto.
I thought after he did that tweet about, it's gonna be so much better, like, bro, stop the cap in
no.
24, bro. 6
His
wasn't that
tweet-
good, man.
His tweet was about the last three. The last three are what's going to kill it. But the next episode is called Bright Eyes, And there's an X-Men animated series. There was this part where Rogue's beating up on Cable, and she's like, "Come here, Bright Eyes." So chances are this one's about Cable. This one's probably going to be about time travel. So I can't wait. I can't wait.
I feel
Comes
like
out
they should have
tomorrow?
probably did like the Storm and Forge, and that Professor X should have been in episode 5, and then 6 should have been the Magneto one and Gambit one, because that episode was just so good.
It's so good, dude. But yeah, the last 3 are supposed to be like ridiculous.
We'll see.
You know, I feel like they would have lost people because remember the episode before that was the Jubilee, right?
Yeah.
The Jubilee.
Yeah.
So you can't have 2 garbage episodes in a row. Not that it was
Facts.
garbage. That's not what I'm
Facts.
saying.
Yeah, no.
Not what I'm
But
saying.
there have been worse.
Oh heck yeah. The thing was,
But
the show has been so iconic that when the one episode is a little like, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's good.
I don't
But
care if it's
because
iconic.
it's
either
not
good
blowing
or
things
it's
out of the
bad.
water. Yeah, if it's not blowing things out of the water, then it's dog water. No, but it's not, dude. The episodes are good. You know, it was a little annoying that they split the episodes. They could have made Life
Yes.
Death one story. They could have
Right.
Storm could have had
That's
her
what I'm saying.
own
Mhm.
episode, right? Rather than
Yeah.
split half and half here. And,
sure.
And why not put the Mojo and the Starjammers thing half and half? But what's cool,
Yeah.
with Starjammers, we got to see Vulcan, who's Cyclops's and Havoc's little brother. So can't wait to see what happens with that.
So we, meaning those of us who didn't fall asleep, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, just go watch it again. Go watch it again.
And you know, like, how you gonna bring up Mojo and not bring up Longshot, bro? I was disappointed in that too.
There was
man.
a stuffed animal.
I'm like, come on, bro. Like, you're not gonna have Longshot. You're gonna still do my boy dirty after all these years, man.
Yeah, they're still doing him.
Come
dirty.
on, man.
You know, Longshot only has 3 fingers and a thumb, kind of like Nightcrawler.
Yeah. I saw that and I was always like, what if he's related to Nightcrawler? I'm like,
Mhm.
later on, I was like, you're stretching, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
He was
thought
one
it
of the reasons I kept reading X-Men, because I love Longshot. Just
Yeah.
you know, like, bro, like we were in high school, man. I mean, I just remember the issue where like he was falling out of the sky,
Yep.
and then he gets picked up by like women with wings, and I'm like, wait, what? And then you find out his power is luck. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, that's so sick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then Rob Liefeld say, hey man, check this out, dude. You ain't using Longshot, bro. You're just killing them. So let me just make Domino, and we'll have a good day.
I love Longshot, man. When Rogue and Dazzler were fighting over him all the time, that was so
Mhm.
great.
Yeah. They did him dirty.
Yeah. Iconic character. I mean, if you think about it though, his costume, as awesome it is, was pretty weak.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
You know, but it worked.
I mean,
it worked for him.
in high school, I thought it was dope, dude. Like the all black leather jacket, leather pants. He had that little star in his eye, and then you're like, "Hey, let's forget about Longshot and bring in Shatterstar." See, dude, they're just doing my boy dirty, man.
Yeah. And now, Alfonso, is Shatterstar the son of
Longshot and Dazzler.
no, isn't it Longshot and someone else?
Dazzler.
I think
Is
it's
it
Dazzler.
Dazzler? Okay.
Those keep going out, yeah.
But he's the son, the father, and the grand. So he's also Longshot's father. It's like a bootstrap paradox kind of thing.
Gotcha. That's pretty dumb.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, geez,
I was
it's
so
like-
pissed because I was like so stoked.
Yeah.
But they did me dirty on that.
Wow.
Oh, bro,
And
you're
it's-
doing Longshot dirty, bro.
Is Shatterstar also in Mojo World?
He was at first, and then he came through. That's when X-Force first started. He joined up with the X-Force, and now him and Richter are in a relationship.
Yeah. Didn't know that happened. Interesting.
Interesting.
So
Zazvid.
Alfonso,
Zazvid, that was what he'd always shout out when Zazvid. He had a catchphrase.
okay. There you go.
You know what we need to do is, I have an idea. I'll talk about it off air.
Okay, cool. Alfonso, what else you got about Fallout?
So I just had to make notes for a meme that I just thought of. So let's see. Fallout. We've got all this. Like, yeah. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the second season. I mean, you know, exploring more vaults. Like you said, Vault 4 was so super interesting because they had the vault. They were bringing people in from the surface. There was all kinds of mutants. Yeah, it was funny too because that one creature that was in the water, it looks just like one of those. What is it called? It's like a South American little lizard thing, whatever it's called. But when I first saw it, I'm like, that thing's got human arms for legs and arms. I'm like, something's weird there. And then when they showed later that it was they were actually growing them in tubes and women were giving birth to them, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, that vault had so much going on. I can't wait for Lucy to get back to her vault, tell them what's going on. Well, she's probably not even going to go back to her vault, huh? Titus might show up there though, looking for, I'm not Titus, Maximus. I got so used to him calling himself, yes, I'm not Titus. And that one little dude that was his squire, man. Oh, he stomped on his foot,
Thaddeus.
destroyed it. What was that? What was his name?
Thaddeus.
Thaddeus is pretty cool. You've seen him in a bunch of other things. I don't know if you guys ever watched, what was that show that looked like Walmart?
Didn't watch it.
Superstore. He was like the one guy's girlfriend or boyfriend, and he was always like, I'm gonna be a rapper. He had like the worst rhymes ever. It was, he was no joke. Yeah, but Thaddeus was kind of cool. You see him in a lot of different movies. And it was kind of cool because he was basically inadvertently apologizing to Maximus for always picking on him. He's like, that's just the way it was. I was picked on, so I figured it was my turn. I had to pick on him. And, I'm just really sad that he's not alive so that he gets a chance to pick on somebody else. So it shows you how the society goes, basically kind of like the Marines and their code reds, whatnot, man, anybody else, who else stood out really, really big in that? There was the one salesman who was trying to, who kept trying to get Cooper's autograph. That guy was kind of weird. I think we'll see him again. I'm talking about the one salesman met him in his car and he's like, I want to talk to you about going over some numbers and stuff.
Oh, that was the Brain.
Yeah. Oh, that was the Brain.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Whatever he said, like whatever Benny's buddies or something.
Right.
And then he said
Buds.
later. Yeah.
He's
Buds.
like, hold still so that I can inject you with this.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
Yeah. Well, overall, I would say that people should definitely take the chance or take the opportunity. There's no chance because how often do all three of us say, man, this is really good, and all agree on it? It doesn't happen very often. So the fact that we all agree on it means that you, ladies, gentlemen, and knights, should run out and watch Fallout. But you know what else you should do? You should find a person that you really dislike. I mean, someone that's like on your just I hate this person list, and you should say, hey, you should watch the Nerd World Order broadcast. And if you can't find anyone that you hate that much, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your kids, post it on the gram along with the Instagram models. Like, just post it in an Instagram models feed. Watch the Nerd World Order broadcast because, best thing you can do for us, other than give us money. I don't even want your money. Just tell people, watch the Nerd World Order broadcast, or you can watch an Instagram model. But instead, you should watch the Nerd World Order broadcast, or you can watch the Nerd World Order broadcast in an Instagram models feed. So yeah, those are your options.
And for Duke's OnlyFans, no.
Duke's, and for those OnlyFans, in the background, Bo, hook us up. So until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, I am NWO.
We are NWO.
Nerds Redefined. Booyah!